right. Hi, welcome to She Creates. I am Madalyn and I'm a Fiverr artist.
And I'm Lo, and I am a photographer here in San Antonio.
And today we are going to be talking about
How asking for help in a community is not a burden.
yes.
Super important because I feel like a lot of times people think that if they need help with something, either there's your pride doesn't let you ask for help, or you're worried that you're not going to find the help that you're looking for because everybody else is too busy. Everybody has their own thing going on, and you just start to see it as you're helpless and you're a burden if you're asking for help, and that's not the case.
Yeah, and it really becomes like a monumental thing. Like the more you think about it with the anxiety, like the more it builds. Like, oh my gosh, what if this happens and that happens? And
Or
it
what
just,
will they think of me? I don't
yeah.
have it all together, and now everyone's going to know.
So we're going to talk about reasons why and ways that you can not let it get to that point because then it stops you from pursuing your creative pursuits, which we don't want.
Absolutely. We want to keep the creative juices flowing, and we want to make sure that everybody is benefiting and also helping. I think that the ability to ask for help does come as you gain trust among people, because you're not going to just go out and ask for help of people that you don't know very well or you don't have the trust factor with. So you do have to build trust, which is an important part of cultivating a community. And that's why it's important to not only be active within the community for every other reason, but when you're active within the community and you're meeting with people and you're spending time with people, working with people, there's a sense of trust that gets built up. So that way, if you do need help, you feel more comfortable to reach out and ask someone for help, because not only do you feel comfortable with those people, but you know them well enough to know maybe who could help you, who has the resources or the opportunities that help you in whatever it is that you need. It just strengthens the bonds of the community when the trust is there and you're asking for help. If you're asking for help and receiving it, it feels good because whatever need you had is being met. But it also strengthens the bond because when you help someone, maybe they need help later and they remember they helped you. Maybe you could help them, or maybe you know someone who could help them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. That's why it's important to work within a community, work to grow a community and cultivate that trust, so that way when you do need help, there's somebody there to help you. It also fosters a sense of connection between person to person, and within the community too. It's not just you and that person. As you help each other, it's mutually beneficial, not only for the two of you or whoever happens to be helping you. Could be more than one person, but it also shows the broader community, the more local community, that there is that sense of connection that can be found to someone who also is looking for a community to be part of. It just seems more open and warm when we're not just on Facebook together.
Yeah.
When we're actively with each other, we're participating in each other's activities, events, even just coffee. The other day we had our networking coffee event, and we met some new people and we talked about things. And there was a couple of photographers there, and then you were there.
Yes.
And then someone new came in, totally different field than anybody else there.
Yes, and she was wonderful.
She was wonderful, and she had so many, things that we don't typically think of or don't talk about within our own creative circles.
And even like when you think of asking for help, I think of like, well, I'm going to look for someone who has more experience in the field that I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, she came in and she was in a whole other like area of the creative world. And she was telling me things and I was like, I never thought of that. Let me write it down.
Exactly.
Like, and she's like, you should call so-and-so and from here and ask him to do this. And you should talk to so-and-so from here and you should go check this store out. And I was like, yes, like, thank you, tell me more. And I personally left so empowered because I was just like, I never thought of those things. Not only did she give me advice for my own business, but she gave me advice to help this group grow in ways that I can help bring in more of the small business people and she was just amazing.
It goes back to what we talked about in the first episode, where being together, you can bounce ideas off of people, and they can present ideas to you that you never thought of, or provide resources that you never knew existed.
Yes.
And introduce you to other communities and other groups of people who participate in things that you didn't know about or you weren't aware existed, or it's just,
Yeah.
it all comes together, and it supports each other to have someone there to talk to. That's always nice. Networking is really nice, especially when it's more comfortable. It's not so stuffy business networking,
Yeah,
but it also just broadens your horizons in so many different ways.
it really does.
So, and then you have, when you meet people, you know what they offer. You know what they're doing. You know what part of the creative industry they're in. And even though it may not be the same one that you're in, we help each other. There's things that we need that other people in our specific creative community can't provide. So when you create a community, you're creating trust, you get to know people in different walks of life, and they have different input and different resources that are available to you. So it demonstrates the power of collective thought,
Collaboration, yeah.
collective collaboration, and in the community at large. When we're supporting each other, we're also growing our local community.
Yes.
Whether that's a creative pursuit that is just for you, it's just something you enjoy doing, or it's your business. Those are things that the community at large can see when we're all working together. Just one person is, I mean, you're always important, but you're just one drop in the bucket of a local community. But when we're all working together,
We can really make a difference.
we can make a difference, and people see it. That collective energy, it starts to grow and expand, and people really see that. So it also cultivates a sense of reciprocity among people. So if I come to the group and I'm looking for help, somebody else who may have also needed help but didn't feel comfortable asking for it sees everybody all hands on deck. Let's help you. And they see that the community that they're a part of but haven't really participated in is actually beneficial.
Welcoming,
It's welcoming. It's mutually beneficial for everyone involved. And it's, you can't just constantly take, but you can't always just give either. There's a balance. And especially in a community of women who are helping each other get further and further in whatever their pursuit is, it's important to show people that we do help each other and we are here for each other. We're open to helping people, because sometimes we have communities and there's people that really aren't wanting to help other people. And that's fine if that's fine if that's your choice.
Yeah, you do you.
Do you. But I think it's more important when everybody is open and willing
Yes.
to help each other. So when we do that, everybody sees it, and it becomes a more comfortable place for somebody who may have never asked for help. They may have always thought, well, it's just a bother for me to ask for help, or nobody's going to have the answer I'm looking for, or I don't want to bother anybody or be a burden.
It
But it's
really
not that.
is like we even get in our own way. Like we're our
Absolutely.
own worst enemy.
Absolutely.
Like we
All the
really
time.
get in our own way. We talk ourselves out of trying something new.
All the time.
Or just reaching out when a lot of people would be willing to help you and they want to share what they know. I mean, I don't know about you, but it is kind of an ego boost when someone's like, hey, you're really good at this. Like, can you give me some advice? And I'm like, yeah, I got you. You know?
Totally.
So it's like, we create like a mental block in our own way, and it doesn't allow us to reach out and ask for help. And that's how you grow, is to be able to get past that and to learn someone's point of view and have someone teach you things that you didn't know already. And it changes your point of view sometimes, like it changes the way you do things. And so I think it does grow. You have to have a growth mindset
Yes.
when it comes to that, and you have to be willing to take that risk.
Yeah, it takes, I'm not going to say that it doesn't take a lot of, I don't even know the word, like gumption, or, it takes a lot to ask for help the first time.
Yes.
Totally. And especially for some people, they were raised in a family situation where nobody helped anybody, or nobody ever asked for help because of pride, or they just always had a downer mindset, like nobody's going to help you anyway. That's not true.
Yeah, you hear that. That's the real world. You need to be tough. That's the real world. No one's
Yeah.
going to be there to help
Nobody's
you.
going to be there to help you. Well, why?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be that way? I understand that it is sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
It totally is. I'm not discounting the fact that in a lot of situations, some people will ask for help and they don't find it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that way. But the other thing about asking for help is when you ask for help in a atmosphere where it's open and welcome for help to be asked for. That's a weird way to say that. In that environment, when you know that there's support readily available for you, it's an exercise in empathy and compassion for you too,
Okay.
because you see other people coming to help you especially when you're in the mindset that asking for help is a burden. If you ask for help, sometimes when we think that for so long, we also become shut off ourselves to helping somebody else.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever helped me. It's a burden to ask for help, for me to ask for help, but in the back of your head too, you're just associating needing help with always being a burden. So when you're asking for help and you find it, you get a little bit of that. You feel that compassion from somebody else. You feel the empathy from someone else who sees that you need help. They're empathizing. They understand. They've needed help before too. They're willing to help. And when you exchange that, when you're asking for help and you receive it, there's an exchange happening that boosts your sense of compassion and your sense of empathy as well. So then you're not so shut off if somebody asks for your help later because someone helped you.
Yeah, and I mean, there's evidence studies out there that helping others boosts your own happiness.
Absolutely. I mean, okay, we all know that people who have lots of money, big corporations, they love to donate money for tax benefits. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm not going to get into the tax code or how I feel about any of that kind of stuff. I'm saying it's helping the community when you have the money to help. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Big business, people do those things. But when you are giving of yourself,
Of your time,
and you're not a major corporation, when you're not a billionaire who's just trying to reap the tax benefits or something, that means something.
It's genuine, and there's something so beautiful about that, because time is the one thing we're never going to get back.
Exactly.
So if you sit aside and you're like, oh yeah, you need to talk, let's sit down and just have a cup of coffee, or if you want me to teach you how to do this so you can do better with your whatever you're working on, there's something so genuine, because you're never going to get that back. And for you to invest that into someone else,
it's an investment.
And then that person's going to turn around and say, wow, that felt really good and I grew so much. Let me turn around and help the person behind me.
And help someone else. Exactly. Giving of yourself, it helps someone else, but it does help you too. It makes you feel good to help someone, and it makes the person you're helping feel so good too. And again, fosters the sense of community and brings people together and creates a sense of trust, and you feel personally connected to people. And help doesn't always mean that you have to give something other than just your time, or you could listen to somebody who's struggling in an industry or in a creative pursuit that you know something about. You can sit and listen to them, and that doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to. You could just sit and listen and share your own experience, and that's so helpful. But also the exchange of knowledge. So somebody has been doing whatever they do for a while, and they're well versed in that subject, that topic, that business, whatever it happens to be. Passing that information on to someone else helps so much, and it doesn't require you to spend any money. Doesn't require you to do any action other than just sharing what you know already. And there's no lack of, we talked about this before too, you're not losing something by helping someone else.
No.
You're not, time. literally the only thing that you're losing in that situation is the time that you give. And it's not a loss, it's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
It's an investment in that person, and ultimately it's an investment in the community around you, your local community. It's an investment in that.
Yes, I think it's important to invest in others. And so for me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a job. I mean, my kid is my job.
Yeah.
Yes, very hard. It's a full-time job.
Full-time job.
Yes. But I love to support other people, but I can't because I don't got money. I broke. So when I see
It's tough for everybody
it's
right
tough.
now.
Yeah, it's tough.
This economy isn't exactly
So
helping
then
us.
how do you do that? How do you help someone? How do you support other women, your friends, small businesses, and you don't got no money? So what do? You share their things. You encourage them. You talk to them. You say like, oh, hey, I know a friend that does that. Or you show up. And that's such a big thing that you can do. I've shown up for people. It's like, hey, I can't help you monetarily, but let me show up and be there to support you. And that means so much to them because showing up, once again, it's giving your time that you're not going to get back. And just being there to be another person and be like, hey, I'm cheering you on and I know that you can do this. As a small business person, I'm also a small person, but small business person. People have done that for me. They have shared my business. They have said, hey, check this out. My business is very niche. So, it's not very much like you spread it all in the newspapers because it has to go to a certain audience. But that's okay because when you find those people, it's really word of mouth. Like that is a great way to get support for a business or a charity or a nonprofit or anything like that. Anything that a woman is doing and you want to support her, you don't have to be a millionaire or billionaire for tax purposes or, whatever.
Right.
You can just be a stay-at-home mom with time. We're all on social media. Just hit that share button. Just hit that like button. Hit that follow button. Just do something. Just something so small. It means so much to people. And I think at the end of the day, it empowers you because you think to yourself, well, I don't have money, so there's not much I can do. And you're like, well, I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
You start to feel small about your contribution.
You deflate yourself.
Yeah.
You deflate yourself, and that is not what us as women should be doing. We should be empowering each other and empowering ourselves. It empowers you to say, hey, my opinion matters. My voice matters. Use your voice because it is one of the most powerful tools you have, and it empowers everyone around you.
Absolutely. It's so empowering to help someone. Absolutely. There's psychological benefits. Studies have been done. There are so many psychological benefits for helping someone else. And some people help purely for like the serotonin, the dopamine hit that they get because they help someone, and it makes them feel good about the rest of their day or themselves or whatever it happens to be. So there's proven science behind the fact that helping someone else makes you feel good, but it also empowers you in multiple ways through your own self view, like your own view of yourself, how you see yourself. You're like, you start to feel down about yourself about something else. You're like, no, I'm a good person. I'm a helpful person. I want to help other people. But it also empowers you, which I don't know. I know no science behind this. This is my opinion, but I have felt it myself. I feel empowered when someone helps me because not only is whatever problem I had solved or, I get aid that I needed, but it empowers me to be helped by someone because I feel so much better about the community as a whole. Everybody, you could look around the world right now and be so depressed. You could find there's so many atrocities going on in the world at large. It is so easy to get up in the morning, have the news tell you yet again that something bad has happened, something awful is going on. And it's easy to fall into that hole of, well, everything sucks. Everything's bad. Like it's going to be a bad day. I might as well not even try, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the thought is, the negative thought in your head. When you receive help, that you put yourself out there and you said, look, I need help with this. Is there anybody that can help me? And you may get to the point where you're you're willing to ask for the help. But even when you're asking, you could still have the thought in the back of your head, well, nobody's gonna help me. When someone helps you, when you see that there is an outpouring of willing people in your community that want to help you with your problem, that's such an empowering and positive message to that negative track that's playing in your head that the world is terrible, everything's, awful. And so when you receive help, you feel better about your community.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like, okay, well, everything else is going to hell in a handbasket, but
At least I have these nice people around me.
I have such a great community of people. We're gonna make it through this. Whatever is going wrong is not, we're gonna get past this.
The end of the world, yeah.
So you're empowered by helping, but you're also empowered in a different way by receiving help from a willing community. And the only way that happens is if the community itself decides, we're going to be this. We're going to be helpful. We're going to be beneficial, mutually beneficial, because I know that when I pour into this community, when I'm willing to help someone, when the day comes that I need help with something, that community is going to be there. So it's empowering on both sides of it. Mm-hmm. And it's empowering for us. Our Facebook, our group is small. We're gaining traction. We're growing. We're getting out into the community, and we're meeting more people. And I don't want it to stop. I want to keep going and keep going. The larger our community gets, the better, but also the more personal connections that are made within the group, the stronger it's going to be. And as that happens, and as we grow in our community, more and more people are going to see the positive benefits of what is happening within this women's community. Mm-hmm. It's not just, I know a lot of people can look at a community that has a niche. So we're a creative, supportive community for women in creative fields. Mm-hmm. So whether that's a business or just a creative pursuit that you enjoy,
yes,
it's niche down. So it's not just women in business. It's not just, female photographers in San Antonio. It's not just female fiber artists or painters, mm-hmm. or female, anything. It's not a podcast specific. It's women in San Antonio who are in creative pursuits and are looking for other women to work with, to support, to be supported by,
to grow with.
And the impact of that, if the community is strong and effective, the impact of that is like, it's ripples. It's a ripple effect within the community at large. So San Antonio as a whole will see the positive impacts the more that we continue to support and work together and just boost each other up. And what you were saying before is, that's marketing 101 for a small business. What's the best way when you have very little investment, money-wise, to be able to support your business, to get your business out? It's word of mouth. It's sharing your business and having other people share it. That's the best free marketing in the world. And like you said, I've seen those posts go around on Instagram and Facebook and stuff where it's like, how can I help a small business in my area? Number one, share it. Visit them. Be a patron of their business, their service, and share your result. Like, share the product that you bought, mm-hmm. share the photos that were taken, share the hair that you had done, and tell people about where you had it done, where you bought it, who took the photos, who designed your website, whatever it happens to be. Tell people. That's word of mouth is free, and it's very effective. Mm-hmm. I know for me personally, whenever I'm looking at reviews of something I want to buy, the reviews on the actual website or Amazon, I'll read them, especially if there's a photo of a product. I want to see what it looks like when it's not the product photo. But I love to, if I'm looking to buy something, I want to know what real people who have it mm-hmm. say about it.
Yeah.
Or even a place you want to visit.
Yeah.
I want to see what it looks like.
Not the Instagram post.
Not the Instagram photo from the business or from the
reality.
I do that all the time with my photography. Yeah. If somebody wants a location, I immediately will go to Instagram. Mm-hmm. I'll type in the pin and mm-hmm. I'll hit recent because I want to see what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
And so that is community. That right there is the community working together, whether they know it or not. I'm looking at that post and I'm telling my client, I don't know, the trees are kind of dead right now in that spot. You know, maybe we should look for another one. It helps. So all of that together, if we are helping each other, if we're telling each other about an opportunity, that's another way to help too. That isn't necessarily someone coming and asking for help, but if you have an opportunity or you know about an opportunity that either you can't participate in, or it's not your thing, it's not your niche, it's not your business, but you know someone who could benefit from it, tell them about it.
Yes.
Tell them about an opportunity.
Because they may not ever know.
They may not know. We are all in different, each of us is in a different realm. Even though we're a community together and we get together, we work together, we talk, we become friends, we create relationships, we're all in our own circles.
Yes.
And there are people that I know that you don't know that I can say, oh, I have a friend.
Yeah.
You should check out her work. She does that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And in reaching out to people is intimidating again.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to even ask, even if you don't want to go up to like a photographer, if you know your friend that's a photographer.
Yeah.
But that's what's important about making the connections, because it's like,
you'll know somebody.
you know, you may not be like, hey, you know, you're kind of into this thing, you're into this niche group, like, hey, can you help me navigate it, or find someone that fits my needs and what I want. And it's a little less intimidating than going to a group.
Absolutely. Also, I think it's so important, especially now. We've all seen that during COVID, everybody needed things in a way that they didn't need them before. So whether it was using Amazon or whatever. And then we saw after COVID how much money that these mega corporations made off of us during a pandemic, okay? And I would so much rather my money go to somebody in my local community who is going to be, because what it's tale as old as time, a big business comes into an area and it closes down a handful of small businesses, because it does take a little bit more effort to keep patroning a local business. It's typically easier to just, oh, well, Amazon can have it here tomorrow between 7:30 and 11. So I'll just do that and probably save a few dollars or whatever. But it's so much more beneficial to everybody as a whole in the long run when we're supporting each other in our local community, because those businesses don't care about us.
Yeah.
They do not care about us. We care about us. We care about having a city that's full of not just businesses, but life. Having a community that is full of people who are helping each other, supporting each other. It's not just for us too. It's keeping it alive for our kids, for our friends' kids, our nieces, our nephews, whatever. It's creating a sense of community that we're slowly losing as a society. I don't even know how slowly we're losing it. It's probably faster than slowly. But we're losing that sense of community because we're allowing ease of access or fast and cheap.
We're creating a false sense of community. It's also the thing. It's
Yeah.
like we're losing the actual like human to human community because we are
Yes.
so involved with the TikTok algorithm that sends you the videos that fit like all the embroidery and cross stitch stuff, which I love. I mean, I'm not gonna lie,
Right.
but
I'm not going to stop
yeah,
watching TikTok.
because it works. Because then I see ideas and I feel like, oh, like these are my people, but do I know them? No.
Yeah.
And that's what's important about meeting people, not even just in like your niche or in your hobby or in your field, but meeting other people because they can support you like that.
Absolutely.
And I want to. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's just fun too to say, "Oh, my friend made this,"
Yes.
or "My friend."
I know somebody who did that.
I know. Yeah. Oh, you like this? Oh, thanks. My friend did it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, your photos are beautiful. Thank you. My friend's a photographer. She took them for me. Like that's more personal. And maybe some. I mean, there could be some people who it's like, that's not a big deal, whatever.
Yeah.
I personally love that. I love when it's like the, what's the pawn shop guy, the Pawn Stars guy, who would always say, oh, I know a guy. Let me call my whatever guy.
Oh, yeah. The coin expert.
The coin expert, my
The
Civil
book
War
expert.
guy.
Yeah.
Whatever it happens to be. I love that.
I know a guy.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
a girl. Yeah. No, I have a friend. No, you don't want that. My friend can do it better.
Yeah.
Like, I love that so much.
And you don't think about it until you get around other creatives. I've been in this space now for over a couple months. We've been doing this, or not a couple months, for a while. But
Yeah.
I go to these meetups and I meet these people and we're all creative and we're talking. I went to a event the other day and no one there did anything artistic. And I brought some stuff up and they were like, yeah, that takes too much work and I don't want to do that. And I did that and I'm never doing that again. And I was just like, this is wild. Like, I'm not used to being in this environment anymore. But there's people out there that don't like to take the time to do these things. And I don't blame them because they can be tedious. But for someone like me, I love doing repetitious things. Like, it gives me, like, calm, just to sit there and do the same thing over and over and over. But some people don't like it. And for you to be that, almost that light in the group to be like, oh, well, I mean, I love that kind of stuff. I know someone who does that. Because you're like, artistic people, creative people are like a special breed. There's not a lot of us. There's not a lot that you think. You think, oh, because there's going to be so many creative people and there's already so many Etsy shops and all this other stuff. No, we're a rare breed because we take the time to do things that other people, they're like, nah, I don't want to do that. And no hate to them because they're the ones that are going to buy the things from your friends.
True. That's true. Because if we all made the same exact thing all the time and we offered the same thing all the time, there would be no.
Yeah. And I also wanted to go back to the topic of the podcast was asking for help does not make you a burden. And something that I guess didn't weigh heavy on my heart, but something that really kind of just stuck with me is that when you ask for help, it's in a very vulnerable state.
Yes.
And like you said, sometimes you're not going to find that help.
Yeah.
And you're going to hit rejection.
Yes.
And that sounds horrible, but sometimes it's necessary because innovation comes out of that.
Yes. Oh.
And growth comes out of that. And I was
So
just
crazy.
like, you can ask for help and it can be like, nah, I'm good. And then you're like, either I'm going to sit here and be like, okay, well, then I give up. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Or you can say, all right, that's fine. Let me go look on YouTube. Let me go to the library and check out a book. Let me reach out to this one person that I know she does it really good. I'm kind of scared because we'll see. But then you reach out to this next person. They're like, yeah, girl, let me help you out. And then you create a friendship and you create a bond. Yes. And so rejection is a part of the process, and rejection will happen, and rejection is terrifying.
Yeah.
But you grow and you innovate and you become a better version of you. So for the next person that may come up to you and say, hey, can I help you? And you remember that one time that someone said no to you.
Yes.
And you're probably going to say yes. And I just think that it's life and it's scary, but it creates something beautiful out of it.
Absolutely. I'm a big reader. I love to read, and I love to read people who write about their lives, and I like to read about writers who write about their careers.
Inception. My goodness.
Yeah. Writers who write about writing.
Okay.
I do love that. And so many of them, if you read whether it's their book or they did a talk, they're talking about their writing career. Every single one of them talks about the dozens and dozens and dozens of rejection letters that they've received submitting their writing. Mm-hmm. And nothing comes without working for it, without rejection, without hardship. If it's worth having, it is worth working through. So rejection is just part of it, like you said. And it's crazy you said that because literally Monday I was grocery shopping. I was at Trader Joe's and the guy that was checking me out, we were talking, and I don't even remember what we were talking about, but he said, what's that quote? Necessity is the mother of invention. And rejection is part of that. Like, you're not going to succeed immediately. Rarely. How many times, like, for real, And I don't care what the story says. Like, oh, she was discovered, working behind the counter at the Five and Dime. Like, that was like the 1950s actress thing. Like, oh, yeah, we just,
Yeah.
Rarely do you succeed the first time that you set out with your venture or your idea or your business. Like, it is not going to happen like that. That is super rare, and most of the time you don't see the work that's put in behind the scenes.
Yeah, and even if it does happen instantly, there's no guarantee it's going to be continuously.
Exactly.
You have to put in the work for it to be continuously.
Yeah. There's two of the Drag Race winners, RuPaul's Drag Race, Trixie and Katya. They were
I don't know, but go ahead.
they were talking about luck and how a lot of things are just right place, right time.
Okay.
And they were saying, like, they were on the same season of RuPaul's Drag Race, and they were saying how lucky it was that they were, able to go on. And then Katya said, well, no, it wasn't just luck, though. Like, we worked for it. We practiced our numbers. We worked on our makeup. We worked on the wigs and the costumes and stuff. So even though they felt lucky to have had the opportunity to be on that season and, have the opportunities that came after being on the show, it still wasn't, they didn't just walk up and get picked. There were still years of practicing and, practicing their movements and the runway stuff and the outfits. It's, even though to them in that moment, it probably seemed like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. At the same time, there was so much work that went in, and that's everything. That's every single thing that you do. There's work behind it, and rejection is part of that. But we would hope that in our local community of women that we're practicing more and more, helping each other. So that way when the time comes, not just because of this, but so that way when the time comes and you need a little help, it's there. And you feel comfortable. It's a safe place. There's a trust built between the women in this community. And everybody's just willing to work together to help each other succeed.
I mean, because honestly, any way you put it, any way you want to believe to put it, what goes around comes around. Karma.
However you want to say it. Yeah.
You reap what you sow. Like, whichever way you think about it. Asking for help and opening that door for the opportunity for someone to help you or for you to learn to help someone. As a former teacher, it's like you never know something as well as when you're teaching it yourself.
That's true.
And like just to open that, just even be like, hey, I need help with this is so terrifying. But listening back to the whole podcast we just talked about, this whole podcast, all the opportunities and all the benefits that come out of just that, and all the doors that open by taking the step out and taking the risk and being vulnerable and just being like, hey, can you help me out? I mean, it's immense, and it can grow you and grow everyone and grow particularly our local community.
Yeah.
To, I'll say it again, create a revolution of creative women.
Absolutely.
That support creative women.
And isn't it, wouldn't you love to know, you look out and you see women that you've met, that you've supported in whatever way, whatever level of support that you can offer. Don't you, watching them succeed, seeing where they go, seeing how far they go, seeing how successful they become, how happy the joy that's felt by their success, and knowing that you had a little part in that. That feels so good. Like, I helped open the door, and look how far she went.
It reminds me
how far she went. That's amazing.
It reminds me of that TikTok sound, and it makes me cry when I think about it. It's that where they put that sound where that little elephant, the imaginary friend from Inside Out, is cheering her on.
Yes.
And you
Take
can,
her to the moon
you're doing it. Go, it is knowing that you might not get to see it, or you might not benefit directly. I know. You might, sorry, but like when I hear that, and I think you just hear so much joy in that character, like, you're gonna make it, you're doing it, yay. And knowing that, hey, I may not have benefited from that, but look at all the good that's coming out of that.
Yep.
Okay, now we're gonna get emotional.
Now I'm gonna get really emotional.
No, this is a women's podcast. They're gonna say that's the women's podcast. They're all about shit up.
For real though.
Because it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's nice. It's nice to see how far someone can go.
And imagine if you're cheering someone else on, just the joy that comes to you.
And when
Yeah.
you're cheering someone else on, you may not even realize it, but behind you, somebody's probably cheering you on too. So it's like a, you know, a cascade of
Yeah.
support and just hoping that someone else is winning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because then we're all winning
then we're all winning.
in a way.
And asking for help is not a burden.
Mm-mm.
It's not a burden. You are not a burden. No matter what you've been taught in your life or what you may believe, just because of life circumstances or negative thoughts or the negativity that is around in the world, don't get out of that and remember that there are people out there who are not only willing to help, able to help, but want to help because we're all in this together.
Yes, and we're some of those people.
Yes.
So
Here we are.
come meet up with us one day. We'd love to hear your
Yes.
story. I love to hear people's stories, where they came from, what they're doing,
How they started doing it.
Yes.
Why they enjoy doing it.
what
Yeah.
have they seen in this life.
Yep. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us
Yeah,
today.
thanks for coming to listen.
Have a good day.
All right, bye.